Attorney Jim Tremond, a Buffalo attorney, has disclosed that one of his clients has received a notice from the New York State Police suspending his pistol permit because the holder is using anti-anxiety medication. According to Tremond, quote, "We are representing a client right now who is impacted by this onerous activity of the government. The HIPAA Health Privacy Act is supposed to prevent this kind of thing from happening. It's a gross invasion of our privacy rights. The man who received the revocation notice has never been violent or suicidal and has no criminal history. The only basis on which the state police could suspend his pistol permit would be confidential information about medical treatment that is supposedly protected by federal laws." Tremond has filed 2 lawsuits against the New York State.
And as you can see, what's basically going on is the state government in New York is now beginning to confiscate pistols and pistol ID cards under the New York Safe Act, which is in itself a very unconstitutional and draconian gun law that they passed in New York, I believe, around the first of the year. The sad part about it is they're using the guise of people being prescribed serotonin reuptake inhibitors to basically make them or force them to relinquish their Second Amendment right. So as you can see, a lot of people in this country seem to believe that the idea or the aspect of having your guns confiscated is...
And Joe, I have in my hands here something that we received from the Senate, which is rejected Democrat proposals in this gun bill. And I don't know that you've seen this, or if you know that these are there or not.
No, but we don't have our own list of rejected proposals that the Senate rejected, so I don't have anything to show you.
Okay. All right, so then I won't address it then if you haven't seen it. I'll leave that one alone. Okay, thank you, Joe. Appreciate it. And Mr. Speaker, on the bill.
And by the way, I would recommend not to have that list shared because it really has the capacity to dampen the enthusiasm to compromise.
Well, it sure does when we talk about confiscation of assault weapons. It absolutely has the ability to dampen a compromise. Mr. Speaker, on the bill.
And welcome back to Hannity. Now, tonight we've been given more insight into just how far the left is willing to go to trample on your Second Amendment rights. Now, here's how this was uncovered. A Republican New York State Assemblyman by the name of Steve McLaughlin, he blew the whistle on his Democratic colleagues and released a secret list of disturbing proposals that the Democrats in New York wanted to include in the state's new gun control law that passed last week. Now, the controversial ideas, look at this. It includes the following: confiscation of assault weapons, confiscation of 10-round clips, a statewide database for all gun owners. Now, they wanted it to become law that the names of all legal pistol owners could be released to the public. They wanted to limit magazine capacity to 5 rounds. They wanted gun owners to only be allowed to possess 2 magazines. And they also wanted to microstamp all the guns in the state. And the list goes on and on. Maybe we should consider ourselves lucky that this New York lawmaker was courageous enough to release what their goals and intentions perhaps in the future really are. Joining me now with reaction is the author Michelle Malkin. Michelle, good to see you.
You too, Sean.
All right. It's pretty frightening. I'm going to ask a similar question I've been asking all night. This is the same Barack Obama that said he'd never go after your guns. Why would he do it now?
I think he sees a window, an opening, and an opportunity, and it is incumbent upon every Second Amendment supporter and gun owner to shut that window. And I think what's happening in New York is going to happen everywhere unless we really gird our loins and fight back. And that was the message of this assemblyman, and big props to Steve McLaughlin for making this public on his Facebook page. The word is spreading now, thanks to you and many activists across the country, about the real wish list. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop, gun owners? Here it is. And this wish list, of course, is the unwritten wish list of the people who are now going to be bringing the same scheme to Washington, D.C. And we've got Dianne Feinstein now, who's going to be unveiling her massive plan. We know it's been her design all along not to simply go after so-called assault weapons, but to go over every law-abiding and take every law-abiding gun owners handguns. That's what this is about. And this gun-grabbing grandstand has to stop.
All right, but in New York, they went just until last week, you were allowed, quote, 10 bullets. That's it, just 10 bullets in a magazine. Then they reduced the number to 7. I'm very concerned about incrementalism, the slippery slope argument that we have. The 7-bullet number is very interesting because that would render the purchase of most pistols, you can't buy them now, 90% of them. So this was done from their part from a very strategic point of view.
Of course it is. And in fact, it really wasn't even all that secret. I would say it's an open secret. And I think it's politically significant that the way that Steve McLaughlin got the list was that a Democrat leaked him the list. These people are so cowardly on the Democrat side. They know it's wrong. They know it's evil. And they don't have the guts to vote against it anyway. So they leaked the list to this Republican assemblyman who is now blowing the whistle. On the assembly floor a couple of weeks ago, there was another Democrat who spelled out exactly what his wish was, which was to make sure that every gun owner in New York State only had 1 bullet for 1 gun. These people are menaces.
Yeah, good luck if you have 2 burglars in your house.
New Yorkers need to know about it.
Hang on,
yeah,
I got to reload. Hang on one second.
What world do they live in?
Yeah. Well, the woman in Georgia shot the guy. He walked out of her house after being hit 5 times, and that's all the bullets she had. All right, let me go. You mentioned the emotion of the moment and selective moral outrage. None of these laws will make a difference. But let's go to the argument that was made by New York Governor Cuomo, and I want your reaction to this.
You bet.
Forget the extremists. It's simple. No one hunts with an assault rifle. No one needs 10 bullets to kill a deer. And too many innocent people have died already. End the madness now. Pass safe, reasonable gun control in the state of New York. Make this state safer. Save lives. Set an example for the rest of the nation. Let them look at New York and say, this is what you can do, and this is what you should do. This is New York, the progressive capital. You show them how we lead.
There's one good thing about that tape. He will never be president.
That's for sure. Dial that volume down. You know, people are always accusing me of having crazy eyes. I saw a pair of crazy eyeballs right there that whole time. Really, it just reeked of the worst kind of emotionalism and exploitation. And I think even that Democrats in New York who are trying to get the word out, even if it's stealthily, understand how crazy this scheme is. And we have to make sure it doesn't come to D.C. as well.
All right, what do you recommend that the Republicans do in terms of fighting back?
Well, you know, I think I'm almost through with recommending things to Beltway Republicans. Yeah. It really is a matter of doing it yourself. And I think the kinds of things that you've been doing with your show, which is countering this narrative that gun owners and Second Amendment activists are all nutty, white, right-wing nut jobs. When you have someone who is as calm and rational and with such expertise as like Jesse Duff that you've had on your show, when you talk about women who need these guns, women and single people who are living on their own, elderly people who have successfully defended themselves with arms. And you talk about the root of this problem, the disrespect that the people on the left have for the Constitution, that's at the core of this, that it's about freedom versus tyranny. I think we can beat them back. I really do. I think that's what we have to do.
Look, I've been a pistol marksman since I'm 12 years old. And most people are responsible. I've carried it for more than half my life. And most people are responsible, and they're not the crazies that they try and make us out to be. But, Michelle, thank you as always. Good to see you.
You bet. Take care.